A is for apple, or so I've been told. B's for that grade my parents said was okay but weren't content till I backtracked to an A. A special A followed by A shooting star, you see. C is for the coast, the seaside. But a C on its side is a frown, and a frown upside down is a neck snapped. And a D for me is definitely a fail. 4 letters through the alphabet and my stomach's gone stale. What if I'd forgotten that one piece of pointless trigonometry? I would have had to cut math from my CV and hide in dishonesty. What starts with D? Dinosaurs suit this, because I believe that if my GCSE was a D, my future would have ceased to exist. Which is disgusting. Because this is my E. My education, cutting creativity while for the pointless, preservation. A national threat, ignored by its nation, shaping the identity of my entire generation. F. Off. But G, let me spell it out, finish my thesis, because maybe to you the situation doesn't sound so grievous. But in an education system where you're either a failure or a genius, either way, teens will turn sleepless. Either way, they'll lie awake, hating their own brains, maybe creating alphabetical poetry, but although they're overflowing with words, there's just one that'll take hold of them. CH is for help me. And I'll put the I in you see, because the irony may be that when I was in primary and was told there was no I in team, I feel I misunderstood. I should have taken that to mean that in a year group of 200, how could a teacher care about me? JK, let me give you some peace of mind. By which I mean a piece of my mind. In modern classrooms, everyone has lost their smiles. But if no one is crying, it is assumed that everyone is fine, and the teacher is too fearful to dig any deeper, go under the surface and uncover how much everyone is really hurting. But I know, and how am I so sure? Because stats show a huge proportion of my age group will self-harm before they fully mature. And to you that might just be evidence of some kind of sick trend, but from my perspective those numbers are my classmates and my friends. So, I'll put a big L on my learner's plate. Learn to look the other way from the prices we for knowledge pay. There has to be a better way. I find it strange how in the future, the grades of previous decades will be seen to demonstrate superiority, so I'll hold my L plate to my face and pray I hold it around the right way, because it seems that to society, loser and learner are synonyms, unjustifiably. But that can only be a lie, when I know a 13-year-old man who can play piano like no adult can, and a girl with a pencil perfecting professional's art in Japan. There are 1,000 Einsteins out there, drowning in mock grades and anxiety, and I can't be there for all of them. So here's M for maybe I'm ranting again, but the facts remain. The diagnosis for the recent spike in youth mental health issues is sometimes put down to the chemicals in the brain, but more often, it's exam pressure driving teens to become creative with pain. It certainly doesn't help. Now, I have never tried to cause my own pain, but I've watched as my closest friends cut till nerves fray. Watch them itch their skin as they reminisce of the blades. So many people my age carve marks into their arms and at the end of the day trace over them again. Why is that the price they pay? N. No more. See, my issues aren't original. We all recognize these devils, and my parents, they complained about O-levels. I'm not afraid to admit GCSEs tested my mettle. My father says his were harder, but he only did 7, I did 12. And here's P for pretending that this is gonna be helpful. But I still feel I need further qualifications, so I'll have to be careful. But no, wait, if you didn't want me to write, you shouldn't have armed me with a pencil. Don't be surprised when you taught me my most powerful weapon is my writing utensil. Cues for the questions I was never asked to ask, but quietly muttered at the back of the class. Scribbled on passing notes and kept secret to the last. Challenging behind an understanding mask, always donned in case the teacher walks past, asking, why do the values you preach never last? And when you're standing up there in front of the class, demanding that we give you the utmost respect in every thought and every act, you ever stop to consider the hypocrisy in that? Because I was taught that R stands for respect. And yet between my blazer and my skin, I hid a bulletproof vest. All this in an effort to protect from what really got under my skin, which is the way I was addressed. Addressed for the way I was dressed, for my hobbies and my friends. I was reprimanded underhand when I failed to understand. I was scared to raise a hand in questioning, scared it's where the wrong gaze will land. And I'm not talking about bullies either, because while I get that all of them are people, I've only ever been made to feel stupid facing off with a teacher. So S is for the students. The millennials movement, right in the future in daydreams, got nothing to prove but everything to lose, hold on. To T for the teachers whose minds are now reeling while they try to remember the excuses from their speeches, hold on. U is for the uni students, they tried to shape to conform, their lives laid out before them as a path to be walked despite that they were made to soar, not walk, so hold on. V is for the veins and glands running straight through my hand, down the inkjet, down the pen and then onto the page, saying I never had the vocation to be a vigilante, I just write what I fancy, but with a violation at hand I had to take a stand, be vigilant and do what I can. This is me, doing what I can. And W is for the wish that I threw into a well, resulting to save my exams with a magic spell, and maybe I won't change your minds. You might find my words drivel, but as my coin settles amongst millions of other pennies and nickels, I still hope to create ripples. Because your potential cannot be summarized by a letter. You have the right to be more than a grade. Only you can take credit for your achievements. You get a choice on who you want to be and how that's going to happen. So if they want to know what X is, I know where to find it. Smack bang in the pupils of a pupil's X'd out eyes, or between the shoulder blades of my back, because like it or not, that's where they aim for. See, X marks the spot. Find 3 X's in the search bars of burning stars who after 5 years of geography lessons still don't know where they are. And an X on the end of that text, the government won't send me to say sorry. Despite that, heaven knows Gove owes those he's lied to an apology. Why? Because Aristotle said it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain thought without accepting it outright. The important thing is not to stop questioning. That was Einstein. But a government-made curriculum won't seek to develop a critical mind, afraid that we might criticize them in real life. And yet, once a teacher told me to never stop asking why. And I promised him I'd try. Now, I've been classified as part of Generation Z. There are no letters after Z, which means that we have a choice to be an ending or the people that choose to do things differently. From Generation X, we inherited catastrophe, lies accepted, the ice caps melting, pollution from factories, but I refuse to forget my dreams. They won't escape in the shape of a zeb while I sleep. They won't die until I see them embodied. Because A is for apple. This much I believe. The question that remains is simple. What the hell does that mean?